Hello there. What's going on?
How's it going?
Good, man. Good to see you.
Yeah, likewise.
So let's talk a little bit of Andor episode 4. Did you stay up to watch it or watch the next day?
No, I just woke up my normal time at 4 a.m. So I just watched it shortly after I woke up.
I did. I did actually much the same thing. I was all gung ho, ready to stay up. Had a late dinner even, and yeah,
Hmm.
I fell asleep 15 minutes before midnight. So it was like I tried, but
Yeah,
I woke up and I'm like, oh, you know what? I'll go. I'll watch it in the morning and enjoy it with a coffee.
you just have to stay disciplined and not open up social media if you don't watch it like right as it drops.
That's you know what you're that's very true. Like I do feel if I sometimes if I wait the next day, because what happened was the next morning I woke up, turned my computer on, had my coffee, and the first thing there was YouTube, and right away it showed like three people's YouTube videos. Oh, 82 Easter eggs, and last night I'm like, no, no, there's like pictures of Greedos and I'm like pictures of Mando and Baby Yoda. I'm like, what are all these pictures? And then I realized, oh, these are all the really bad what's the word I'm looking for? Clickbait. Like
Yeah.
every one of them was like a picture that had absolutely nothing to do with the episode. In the end, it was pretty funny to see actually. Um, Orlando's first to jump in here.
Hey, Rolando.
I think Blue Harvest was thinking about joining us, but then realized, wait a minute, it's 1 in the morning, and but you never know, he might pop in. I think Super John was going to pop in too, but I don't know if Super John, if Florida's taking his power or taking his
Yeah.
car for a ride down the street, turn it
Yeah.
into a boat or not. You never know.
Yeah. Thoughts out going out there to everyone in Florida affected by Ian. So,
Absolutely, man. Like all the best, and hopefully everyone is safe, and your family and friends, anyone you know down there is hopefully there is help where it's needed, and if there's announcements, please listen to them and do what you got to do to be safe. So I'm gonna
hey,
pull up.
we got Lobot in.
Welcome, Mr. Lobot, sir. Yeah, so I know this is kind of the next day after, not even the next day. It's the same day later in the day.
Yeah.
Andor. I've done this show. Talked about it 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning after it streams. Sometimes that's fun. I don't know if that's the best way to do it. So I'm giving this a shot on a Wednesday night. Hopefully, I'm not overlapping with any big streamers other than like Mr. Kevin Smith. Um, I think he's streaming, but I'll take away a couple of his fans. I think just a couple.
Yeah.
You and
Um,
me.
yeah. Uh, Snoogans.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt.
um, yeah, I haven't gotten a chance to watch it more than just the one time this morning, and I didn't like. I don't come prepared to these things to like with all the the Easter eggs and everything written down and plotted out. I'm not sure if you do, but
I didn't really write anything down. I don't have any names. Is that what's what am I sharing? I'm sharing a window. I don't want to share a window. I want to share. I want to share that. Yeah, but one thing I did learn overnight or in the morning watching someone else's stream is that Cassian Andor's sister's name was Carrie. Okay, so that's still showing.
for that was in one of the first three episodes. They called that out.
Yeah, I think it was actually written on StarWars.com.
Oh, in the
Uh,
data bank.
yeah,
Okay.
in one of the articles it mentioned that, so I was like, Carrie. So I thought that was a nice little touch. Okay,
Yeah.
so why isn't that sharing what I want to share? So I'm just trying to share. I did take a couple screenshots though, so bear with me as I
Yeah.
find out why this is not sharing the actual. What the frick, man? What the frick?
This is the joys of doing a live event.
Well, did they change this app that it doesn't do it this way anymore? All right, so can't. There's not a different option to do it. Share screen. I'm sharing a window, and there's the window.
There we go. The
All
ISB
right.
council room.
Yeah, the ISB, as we read about them lots. Um, we've Jesus Christ, Rick. We've seen a little bit of the white uniforms and this particular room in the early trailers.
Yeah.
So I was kind of, I don't know if this is meant to be my first picture, but it is. One of the things I wanted to point out, and these characters kind of showed it all off, was I do feel they got the design right when it comes to like hair and makeup and the uniform. I do feel they got the proper amount of sideburns and the way. And I'm being totally.
Yeah.
They did it with Rogue One in the movie. There's more than a handful of pilots that totally look like they're right out of 1978 or 1980. And I did notice it here with some of these guys in their hairstyles, and again, like their sideburns. So I hopefully other people kind of notice that, like they're casting it to make like what I want it to feel like. Yeah, like they made it in the 70s or 80s.
Not just that, but set design and the architecture. I love the architecture of the ISB headquarters on Coruscant. That was a really, really cool looking building.
Yeah, I thought that was my very first picture to show off the bat here, so I'm a little disappointed it wasn't. But let me get my. Not sure why that didn't show up first, but yeah, it's very cool looking.
Yep, that was cool, and I know I'm jumping ahead, but you'll see a lot of the kind of like angular kind of concrete, like almost like council housing in the lower levels of Coruscant when Cyril goes to his mom.
For sure, yeah, we do see like they quickly kind of go to Coruscant, and we get a little flyover. Like we see all the buildings looking like a downtown New York kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got this crazy alien guy named Super John.
Hey, John.
Super John.
Sorry, I fell asleep on the couch watching.
Oh, that's okay. It happens to the best of us on a daily basis.
I'm so old. I keep falling asleep.
Welcome to Upman. So me and Eric just got started. We just talked about the new Imperial, the ISB.
Yeah, the ISB building. Look at that.
Yeah, it looked pretty cool.
I liked this place. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great that we get to visit this planet again. And what do they call it? They call it the capital of the galaxy.
Yeah, Coruscant was the main hub. Yeah.
So that was kind of neat to hear them actually refer it to that in the front. They didn't change the date, so I'm assuming this time frame we're still at the 5 BBY or before the Battle of Yavin. So that's an interesting thing to think that we're going to get another time change. But I was also commenting on John as how a lot of the hairstyles I thought were very. It's kind of like especially this guy here, kind of got that 70s look.
They do.
Whether it's just a nice visit to the the hair and makeup department, but I did think that was a neat thing, and I'm glad they kind of did that. And we see it a little bit with the rebels too, or the good guys, as we might call them, right? The one guy's got the dark sideburns, the other guy's got a nice bushy mustache. The uniforms are what the uniforms are. They can't really make that look too old because they do have a modern kind of, I guess science fiction is the word I'm looking for. It does have to fit in the realm of, believability and make believe at the same time.
It's kind of like reminded me a little bit of like a THX 1138 a little bit.
Exactly, being all white. Everyone's white. The walls are white. The floors are white. And we're getting that here right away. Everything's white.
And the walls kind of were evocative to me of spaceship Earth at Epcot in Disney World with the geodesic sphere and whatnot. So that's the first thing I thought of was.
It is very much like that too. And I was looking at that to see, okay, are they perfect little like diamonds? But they're not. It's a weird little shape, but they're all similar of that shape, and different versions of that shape. But it is a weird pattern that someone came up with, and I've never seen it before, whether it's in Star Wars or in anything, to be honest.
What I liked was that they're like, what are they, the ISB or something? They're like
The ISB, yeah.
They're like the CIA, yeah.
Yeah, and so it was like we're seeing a different division within the Empire, itself, and I thought that was kind of a neat thing to do. And then it kind of made me wonder, like, is that what the white uniform designates? That you're in security or in this division in some way? Because I always kind of wondered why, like even at the Death Star in Star Wars, there was that one guy. I think now he's called Admiral Yularen. Who had the white uniform, and it was like, what makes him stand out from the rest?
He was demoted after the Clone Wars from being an admiral of the Republic to colonel in the ISB.
And then we saw Krennic wearing the white as well, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I thought it was really cool how I can't remember the guy's name, but the head guy in the ISB in that room, I think his rank was a major. He was the guy who played Qyburn in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, the guy speaking in the middle, right?
Yeah. How he was lecturing all of the ISB agents on the purpose of the ISB and saying, no, it's not what says in the handbook. We're like, we're here.
We're like the medical.
We're here to cure the disease, right? We're here to heal the disease and cut out, festering wounds or whatnot.
Yeah, he didn't, not medical. He's like, we're like the healthcare system,
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
But he did mention like the disease.
Yeah.
Or, if not that word, the plague or whatever we got to get rid of. So that was interesting. Choice of words.
The other thing that I thought was great about these kind of scenes and stuff that I'm sure will be coming up here is that I really like how you're seeing parts of the Empire turn into this rigid, like almost like how Tarkin was doing stuff, where he was like, I don't care if you've got to blow up the communication center that we built to stop the rebels. We are doing whatever it takes to stop them. Like, stop playing by the rules. Stop, it's like, we are the Empire. We are above all this. Let's just, what I mean? Cut the wound out, like he's saying. Cut the thing, cut off the hand to save the body. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And he definitely had a Tarkin vibe about him.
Yeah,
his presence, like he was, commanding presence, I guess. And his accent, I guess, too, reminds me a little bit of that character. But
what I mean is, you're seeing some people within this council that were probably brought up under like the Republic way of doing things, where they discuss and talk and investigate and figure things out, and it takes a longer bureaucratic process.
Yeah.
And then you've got the new Empire people that are sitting in here that are just like, no, just chop the freaking head off and let's move on. You know what I mean? So it's like they're showing you the two different ways of thinking and how the Empire sort of will develop into this thing of, yes, let's just chop the head off and move on.
But it's definitely a transition period based on what was her character's name, the woman Deidre, and the Lieutenant Blevin, I want to say his name was, how she was requesting to get information on what was happening on Ferrix, because the what was it called, the Star Path,
the little box.
The box was stolen from one of the systems in her jurisdiction. I want to say it was called Veerguard, but that request was denied because it was like, oh no, you're just, so there's still some bureaucracy and whatnot holding up progress and whatnot.
Yeah,
but it's
very much.
But I think that's on point with like showing a transition from the Republic that you saw in the prequels to the Empire you see in the OT.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at. It's like that we're seeing that grow that growth of the empire and how it turns from republic to empire. Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
And that clash of ideals, I think, is what we're seeing in some of these scenes.
Especially with those two characters, the one female and the other
Yeah.
guy, that they get into an interesting little discussion later. I do have a couple of
It,
screen grabs because that's a little later in the episode.
and the corporate guys, you know what I mean? Like which I think you're gonna get to, right? That was after this, right? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a neat introduction to a couple of characters on the Imperial side of things. So it's the first, we're in episode 4, and we're finally getting to see some of the Imperial side of Star Wars. Whether we know of these characters or not, this is their introduction into this Andor verse, if you want to call it that. But again, yeah, just hats off on the style. Even the consoles I noticed were
Oh yeah.
very digital and modern, but also looked like they could have been made in the 70s by the props masters back then, and I really really like that. I think that's
Yeah.
a good touch. So Aldhani, so this is the name of this episode, and this is I guess the planet that they first go to, the only planet they go to so far. And this is Scotland, right? These are all the hills of Scotland they did all their filming in.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. So very beautiful. We get a couple of shots of Andor and the Stellangar's character. I'll remember before episode 12 comes up. They were having a little discussion on ship. He's talking about how much money he's going to be giving them to do the job, and it's going to be 5 days kind of deal. Not giving them all the details, but just giving them enough details to keep them interested in. And he's got this new character coming to meet them. Again, I didn't write her name down, but she is going to be. I think we're going to see her in almost every episode from here on out until she passes or whatnot. I think she's a key character in this series now. We know that kind of because there has been like an action figure leak of her character.
Ooh, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, it's on the back of one of the vintage collection cards.
Got it.
But she's kind of in the trailers, but not a big part of the trailers. We didn't know if it was a background character but the people who know because she was one of the one of the characters in Game of Thrones, I believe, as well.
The waif. Yeah, I recognize her instantly.
And the same with a couple of the other dudes in her little crew. I think those guys are from a couple of British-made shows as well. Shows I haven't watched, but I saw someone call them out what work they've been on recently.
I recognize the younger guy who was sleeping on his watch duty. He was in that movie about Alan Turing in
that's it.
Right. Was it The Imitation Game? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
So.
Yeah.
And the one Imperial officer, the black fellow, he's actually like a stand-up comedian, and he's done a couple of
that's right. Yeah.
specials. I think he's been on a sitcom or a comedy kind of show. I don't recognize him, but I've seen a couple of guys call him out for his work, because so far he's done pretty good. Like we kind of don't want to like him. I think at this point we're almost cheering for the blonde girl for whatever reason, but we also kind of hear her supervisor guy, her superior, kind of say in a certain way of saying, like, he recruited her or picked her for a reason. So I think we're going to kind of learn her history a little bit. Like, I know she's not like a clone, or I don't know. I'm assuming she's not a clone or an alien species, but I wonder if she's a daughter to somebody important, or what her importance is besides, her just being pretty smart. I think she's got something to do with something else. Or why? Because when he kept her afterwards, after the guy left, he's like, "Okay, you're free to go about your business. We're all good here." And then held her back to kind of tell her, "Okay, now here's why we gotta go about it this way, and this is why I picked you. Your numbers are good." And So I wonder what her story is. Like, again,
This
they all
we
look
gotta
at the
talk
same
about.
rank. Like every single one of them they got the same rank. So yeah, this is half kyber crystal and half sky dust or something they called it.
It was coaxium.
They said kyber and something else. I'd have
Yeah,
to go.
yeah.
I
thought it was
something.
I thought it was something like coaxial kyber. You know.
It is something.
So I was like, it's like to me, it was like coaxium melded in with a kyber crystal or something. Like I thought it was a really weird. Because I swear he said coaxial kyber, something like that.
I read I get the text subtitles when I watch these, and it's definitely not that. It was called like cloud pixie dust. It's something from the books and an alien species we've never seen in live action. So whether
if it's KOTOR,
if it's something that we need to know, I think it's going to be important in the end because I think that character, that Stellingard's character, maybe he's a force sensitive guy. Like he has the sticky stick, the little sticky stick he likes to whip around. Like it's interesting. We'll find out. I don't think it's a throwaway object or Easter egg.
No. Just based on like he was saying, if you happen to hawk this item, don't take anything less than 50,000 credits for it. But it's worth a lot more because of historical significance. They made some vague reference to I can't remember the name of the race in Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah, it's a fish race.
Yeah, they're the ones that like built the Star Forge and whatnot. If you ever played KOTOR, so
yeah, I just wonder. Like he also said, and you're gonna give this back to me.
Yeah, at the end.
So you're not gonna sell it because I'm gonna get it back from you. It's just
and give you the credits. Yeah. After
so when he said that, I kind of stopped thinking, okay, he's an Imperial spy now. Okay, because he's doing that out of good faith, he's giving him this little prize thing, a little possession, I guess, not really prize, but valuable. Offers him 600,000 credits or 60,000 credits, some big number. Mm-hmm. So it'll be interesting to see. And then Cassian gives himself a little shave with his, knife that looks like you can buy it at an actual surplus store. But then he's wiping it off with his towel, and it's like it's already been grown for 3 days. Like, or his knife is the opposite of it's not a knife. Like, so I don't know how he was shaving, and then as soon as he wiped it with the towel, it was already like he had a beard again.
A shadow, yeah.
This dark-skinned guys grow hair really fast. But yeah, it was more the shadow. It was like it was 3 days worth of growth. Like, or with the knife, you can somehow not shave to your skin. Is that something you can do? Like, you just shave 4 millimeters away from your skin? So I don't know.
It's space magic, space wizards,
But he had to take on a different identity. He didn't want him to reveal his real name to that group. So
yeah, again, I didn't write that name down, but I believe the name he chose
Clem.
Was his father's name. Like
was it? Okay.
His adopted father's name, I believe. I saw that in another after show. But yeah, so again, he's being all sneaky about it. Like he's telling Andor one thing, and then he's going outside. Yeah, now you stay here, and let's get my story straight with the other person. So right away, it's like, okay, something's fishy going on here. But her that shawl kind of gave me a little bit of Anakin or Qui-Gon, Eope kind of feel.
Yeah, definitely.
Pointed out Starkiller wore something very similar as well.
And Cal Kestis.
Star
Wars really likes space ponchos.
Yeah.
Yeah, we see the Starkiller helmet, I believe, in the little antiquity shop later on.
Yep. Yeah. Sam Witwer
from Rakatan era.
Yeah, the whatever those guys were. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So she already seems like she's going to be a badass character, whether she survives everything or not. But I dig her. I think I remember her from Winterfell or wherever she's from. Is that another show?
She was with she was in the Temple of the Many Temple of the Many Faced Gods and whatnot with Jack and Hagar.
Oh yes, that girl. You're right. Now I recognize her. Yep.
The one that was trying to get all stabby with Arya.
That's okay, stabby. Yeah, I do like this ship. I don't know what it's called.
It's a really cool design.
Oh, I love this ship. Yeah.
I wonder if this is the ship we see later that shoots lasers out the side.
Yes, I think it is.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very toyetic. Let's just put it that
definitely.
way.
I want a 3.75 scale.
It also talked in this episode too.
Yeah.
The little eyes that looked like a little escape pod were, looking at Andor. Oh, what are you looking at? Can I help you? Kind of thing. I'm like, whoa, the ship is talking to him now. So that was interesting. We don't get that a lot in Star Wars. Has there been another talking ship yet?
Well, L3's consciousness was uploaded to the Falcon.
But the Falcon never spoke a word, as far as I know, to anyone.
In Empire, it spoke to R2 and 3PO.
Okay, I guess in droid talk, right?
Yeah.
Beep boop. Okay, yeah. So didn't get this guy's character, but yeah, I love the 1979 looking TV. I think that's pretty rad. But it's very modern. Like it's, I don't know. It's that's what I love about the Star Wars universe is it's modern. It's science fiction, fantasy, whatever you want to call it. But it's also looks lived in. Like it's like we can hop on a bus and we can go there.
Well, I like how there are still toggle switches. There's still toggle switches. It's like
exactly like and you good luck trying to find those. Like nowadays,
I know.
We don't have the Radio Shack anymore. It's not as easy to go buy a bunch of red toggle switches, and it's amazing to think of that. Back then, you just pull out the drawer. You got every size and color you want, and if you're out, you walk over to Radio Shack or wherever your electronics catalog, and you buy more stuff, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so this guy, what? I was wondering, why did they pick this guy? Is it because he looks exactly like Tarkin?
Yeah, I wondered too.
Because he looks absolutely nothing like Tarkin. Like,
did they say his name yet? The character's name?
No.
They did say his name. It definitely was not, Will Rock Tarkin or whatever his actual name is.
Will Huff.
Will
Huff. But look at his cheekbones and stuff.
I know.
Guy looks famished.
I'm like, oh my god, there's Tarkin, and I'm like, well, it's not Tarkin. It's just
Deidre just referred to this person as her aide, I want to say, when she was talking to Blevin later on.
Okay. Because I do recognize him from like a show I watched over the pandemic. Like I watch a lot of silly content, but I do recognize him as like a cop or a servant or something from a show I watched. But it's just weird because he totally has the Tarkin cheekbones and style, and his ears are a little bigger than most average men. So it's just, I don't know, man. It's definitely too young to be a Tarkin because
and the wrong rank. They had him as the wrong.
Yeah, we saw Tarkin
in Revenge of the Sith,
in Rogue One, and he was already an old man kind of thing.
Yeah.
But
he was old in the Clone Wars too. Yeah.
He was. Yeah, they picked him for a reason, and I don't know, man. Like it's
a very imperial look. I mean, that's just.
I guess
high cheekbones and whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like again, where he was talking about that girl, how he's like, oh, we've selected you or we've chosen you for this reason. It makes me kind of wonder, like, are they pulling him from a certain, clan or family of people or planet or something? Interesting. What's going on, Dinos? Hopefully you saw the Andor show. If not, get ready to get spoiled. And then we see the little.
Oh, this was
a little fancy dress up kind of evening here.
This was one of my favorite scenes in the episode.
Yeah.
Just putting on a face.
Yeah.
Yeah, he gets a little smile, and puts the jewelry on,
Gets
which
into
got a lot of
character.
jewelry to kind of pull from. But I think this guy, he's got some money. We were talking about that last week. Like, he's
Yeah.
got some money, man. Like he's, for once, like he's a known guy that works at an antiquity store on on the planet that's the capital of the galaxy. So, and at the same time, he's running around, doing his thing, being a rebel.
And not only being like an antiquities dealer, but someone who hobnods with the upper echelon. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like, how, we have, tattoo parlors, we have toy stores, we have comic shops, we have, antique shops all around the country, but there's a few that deal with the rich and famous.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it's like he's one of those,
He's the main broker for the upper class. Yeah.
Yeah. So he has to dress and portray that style of person to be in with that group. But then I think he's using that information and knowledge he gets to work with Mon Mothma and in the background sort of form and help the rebellion become the rebellion,
Yeah, and his wig looks really good.
Oh yeah.
You guys know a good wig guy.
How he made that look that seamless is
I know. Without it's like when he's putting it on, it's all weird. Then also they show him next, and it's like he's been in the chair for 4 hours getting makeup done.
Yeah, like I could see the strands coming out of the pores. I'm like, wow, that's a pretty good looking wig.
We didn't see off screen in the refresher on the ship. He's got like a George Jetson setup in the bathroom.
There's 3 robots.
Yep.
Hairspray or air paint.
It's not a Vern wig, but it looked natural.
I think it might have been a Vern wig. It looked that real.
That was something Rolando said. I'm not going to take credit for that.
Vern. There you go, Orlando. So these goats could be sporting a Vern wig too, but it's not this big just because they got like 4 or 5 different horns coming out of their heads, which is.
Well, what's funny is let me look this up, but I don't think that's even makeup. I think there are goats that look like that.
I think you're right too.
For real?
Yeah.
I just assumed they just added a couple extra horns to existing animals.
Oh, they do. It's the Australian goat breed Veerhoornziek.
I can't believe you know that off the top of your head, John.
I don't. I'm looking it up. I looked it up. Yeah, it's a Veerhoornziek, a 4-horned goat from Austrian. Sorry, Austrian.
This guy was Pennywise's dad? Is that what? Rolando?
No. Stellan Skarsgård is Bill Skarsgård's dad.
Oh, okay.
Bill played Pennywise in the recent It films.
I saw on Twitter today too. One of the artists, or one of the Phil Struza, I think is his name, was posting pictures of those Carillion kind of hounds, those dogs from the Soul show.
Oh yeah.
And he confirmed, they were the same. Features we just saw in the first 3 episodes. And he was giving credit to the artists and the people who created those things. But it's pretty cool, man. Like that's why I just assumed this was like, a goat costume as well.
We also saw one of those dogs in the Obi-Wan show, so they've been using them. They've been sort of sprinkling them in as a common thing in the universe. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So we get more of the angular, concrete, if we want to call it that. Even inside this kind of, which I'm assuming is like a privately owned kind of business, right?
Yeah.
His little helper lady. Obviously she's on the gig with him. They're talking. Oh
yeah, because she distracts the driver that Mon Mothma's like, I got issued this new guy and they're on to me. Like she feels like they're on to her or something. So she's got to be careful.
Like there's a lot of things in play, like have been many years apparently, or however long, because they've obviously got some kind of relationship. They've met obviously at least once or twice before. Maybe many times over their lives, right?
Yeah.
I wonder do you think he was ever a senator or in the same kind of work as her, or?
Well, you don't know yet. I mean, it very well could be, but we don't know yet. I mean,
this guy Luthen, I'd be surprised if they said he had a background in politics. It seems like his gig is more the like,
the money,
the upper classes guy for getting anything, procuring anything. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
true. Like this might be realistically what he kind of does.
Yeah,
buy and sell, these prop replicas from Star Wars movies. There's a big market of us that buy this stuff, right? So he's got some Beskar kind of Mandalorian armor. It looks like just hiding back there, and we do see, the actual Star Killer, helmet, and I believe that's all but confirmed that that's what that is. So does that mean that character is not alive anymore, or?
You don't know. It's hard to say.
Yeah.
What's the I can't remember the actor's name. The actor's name who played him in a video game, and
Sam Witwer.
Sam Witwer
was speaking about it tonight, bragging. See, I told you I was in the Andor show.
Sort of.
Sort of. But I didn't notice many other things. I know there was a.
Well, isn't that a Calcari over there from the
Yep.
It's not the one that it's not
Hera.
Hera's family, but it's from a different family.
Like a three-leg ornament.
Yep.
Kind of thing.
Yeah, Mandalorian.
Some of the things broken down, but nothing.
And that's definitely a Mandalorian chest plate,
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, and I'm have to assume it's Beskar being shiny and silver and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
And the more valuable of the metals, I would think at this time is, this one I just thought was a cool looking, speeder.
Yeah, I thought it was great.
Kind of get that 50s vibe as well as a Rolls Royce-y. Because I don't think there's a hood ornament, but I think it'd be great if there was a hood ornament right there.
Yeah.
So, Gilster was asking a pretty interesting question in the chat. Would Thrawn be around? I think
absolutely.
Based on what I've seen with the timeline, this show should overlap with Rebels to a certain extent. But based on Mon Mothma still being on Coruscant and not being on the run from the Empire, this would predate those that part of the timeline
Thrawn episodes
in Rebels, and then when Thrawn went out into the unknown regions with Ezra. So Thrawn should still be somewhere around in the Empire. With
I don't think he would be a youth. He would be like Mon Mothma's age. I think like he's not a. He is.
Well, I mean,
species, but I mean,
this
I
is.
think he'd be a child. I think he'd be in the Imperial forces.
Well, of course, this is only a year. This is only a year before we saw him in Rebels, so it's so that's what Eric's trying to say. Rebels sort of goes on at the same time that this goes on. So,
but he's never been like say a regular at the Imperial Senate for any reason, right? Like that was
Thrawn. He wouldn't have been playing around with that. No.
Be interesting to see if this is the the story that Thrawn is introduced to us. I don't think it would.
I wouldn't. I'd be very surprised because the new Thrawn trilogy focuses on a lot of the events that lead up to his introduction in Rebels, and all of it's focused on stuff that has nothing to do with what you here.
Yeah.
It's about his his career path going up the chain in the Imperial Navy, being an alien and an outsider. So
no, exactly. And Jason's got a good point here. Yeah, he's definitely the driver is going to spy on Mon Mothma and see what's going on. She kind of knew that, right? New driver.
Yeah.
They're watching everything I do, and
he was looking over the shoulder.
We kind of heard this before we saw this. We just heard that sound, that whining sound we know of the speeder bike, the Aerotech speeder bikes from Return of the Jedi. And I really hope we get to see at least a little bit of a speeder bike scene. Is that enough speeder bike for us? Are we happy with just that little scene?
I personally would like more new vehicles and whatnot.
But the fact that they're in a forest with trees and it was badass. So
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
happy with that Easter egg.
You just need some murder bears.
Yeah, it might be the only low speeder bike scene we get in this show, sadly. But I guess we'll have to be happy with it.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that. Yeah, Mon's husband. They're clearly at odds with their thinking.
Yep.
Yeah, he was pretty fancy smanchy looking too with his little man bun. I don't know why that. Oh, there we go. With his little samurai man bun thingy. Like, oh.
I like that. That's a good look.
It did work. It does work because they're kind of hoity-toity, wealthy, Star Wars people, right? So they definitely got their own fashion sense going.
Yeah, and it's probably more reflective of their home planet, Chandrilla, more than Coruscant and whatnot.
Okay, yeah.
Because you saw the trees,
yeah,
from the Kenobi show.
In the house, yeah.
So it was a nice touch of nature and a really clean, pristine kind of environment. But
yeah, because they were with mountains and such too, where they were living, but also maybe when you're that rich, you can have a home out in the mountains. Like her dad said at one time, I want to go live out in the mountains, and now he kind of does, right? I guess when he was a kid in the city, he knew where he wanted to live. Yeah, so I don't remember seeing this character in any of the trailers or anything, so it's kind of interesting that we got Mr. Mon Mothma himself. I know that's not his name, but something that I don't trust about him.
Oh, well, they're definitely at odds with their line of thinking between Mon Mothma and her husband. Have opposite views on the Empire and what's going on in the universe, the galaxy or whatever.
I think you're right, John. I think we're going to see a broken marriage here before too long.
He doesn't strike me as someone that would be more pro Empire as much as pro himself and just whatever needs to happen so that I can live my fancy lifestyle. I don't care. I don't care who we have to step on, go do whatever.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
What a dick that guy is. I hope he gets it next episode. That could be the Cadillac of the sky for sure. She had a nice ride. 5 years, I believe that's accurate.
Yep. But he was talking about inviting the two characters that were flanking Palpatine in the prequels in the Senate chamber, Masameda and whatever the Umbaran character.
I think
Sly Moore.
Sure. I think for sure we're going to see those characters because
in the dinner scene,
or somewhere, even at this dinner scene exactly, or some other characters that were like, oh, that's so and so from the prequels, more on the Emperor's side, more that side, like you're saying, don't sit them near me. I don't want them sitting beside me.
Yeah,
but it'd be neat to see if there's little name tags on all those plates. To see them all. Because she only mentioned two or three names total, and there's at least seating there for a dozen to 20 people.
I hope that we get to see. I hope we see the dinner party. Yeah.
Well, I think there was something in the. It was either a trailer or just some image, but it showed their.
Yeah, she was reading a data pad.
Well, no. I mean, something that teased something in a future episode.
I see.
And it looks like they show that dinner on screen in a future episode.
Because if that's the one peek we get at a certain character, just for you want to call it a cameo that adds importance to the story, then so be it, right? I think it could happen.
Yeah, so much for no Easter eggs. Whoever was saying that, if you had access to episodes 1 through 4 and said there were no Easter eggs, you have not been watching or reading or interacting with Star Wars content.
Yeah. I think if I was hired if Kathleen Kennedy or Johnny Favreau hired me, my job title would be the director of Easter eggs.
Yeah.
Or the Easter egg commander. Like that'd be my job. No, you need an Easter egg every 11 minutes. That's the rule. So this is for Duffman dioramas.
Like I can't get it down, but you did catch that in the first 3 episodes that the ship that Andor borrowed with the Y-wing engines was the toy that from Rebels that came with the Kanan action figure.
Is that right?
Really?
I've got it right up here in a box, but my desk and table's in the way. I can't get it down.
Everything would come crashing down.
Yeah.
So,
but I've got it still packaged right there, and it's like
you need to get one of those grabbers.
Yeah.
Garbage picker upper. So we get this is a kind of a third way of us looking at a rebel, army, whatever you want to call it, meeting. So we've seen like in our original trilogy Star Wars, the rebels, they got the digital projector showing the Death Star, and they got the whole plan, what they got to do. And then we see in Rogue One, similar kind of thing. Here's a little data table. We're showing what we got to do, but they're underground in a bunker. So it's, they're kind of, and now here's the bottom level. They're like literally under like a bunch of trees looking at a plan that, some guy made with sticks and twigs and stuff. So, and it looked really good. Like he built a really good little diorama as she was going over the master plan, right?
And didn't he say something like, "Don't mind the scale" or what?
Yeah.
He didn't chime in while he was talking about the scale of the tunnel or something, right? So I thought of Duffman dioramas and all my, my toy people as soon as I saw this. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the plan. They're going to rob a bunch of Imperial credits that are to be used to pay like salary that day for everyone in the Empire. So it's a pretty interesting heist, right? Like, has there ever been such a big heist in the Star Wars stories? Like, we're robbing the whole entirety of the money of the Imperials.
Well, maybe not for
that
credit, maybe not for credits, but there are some heists that happen in the comics that are pretty significant.
Yeah, like Han Solo. What was he stealing? That one chemical John was talking about earlier.
Also trying to steal Han Solo and carbonite.
That too. Yeah. There's lots of that going on.
That and a Star Destroyer.
Yeah.
Stealing ships. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but
it's very interesting because this gives us more of that. I don't want to compare it to the Bourne supremacy movies, but it is getting into more of that kind of spy adventure as opposed to just space adventure, and I like it because it works in its universe. There's lots of elements that I think we have still yet to see, whether it be a space battle with spaceships and lasers, or even if we ever see a laser sword like a lightsaber ever in a series, I'll be happy. Like I know we're going to see some kind of war in space. Like it's still Star Wars, right?
Oh yeah.
But they talk about the temple. Do you think this has to do with Jedi in any way?
Oh, of course it is. Yeah.
It's got to have some significance there, but I can't imagine they're going to go into that too much. They're just using whatever kind of aerial effect for cover. But one, we were talking about heists, and I don't know how didn't talk about the most obvious one that was on screen in Solo, for the coaxium.
Yeah, the coaxium.
But that heist didn't go down, or at least the first one didn't go down so well on was it Vandor?
Yeah.
And almost everyone died from that. So I guess my question to both of you and anyone in the chat would be, surely they're going to I have to imagine they're going to be successful. Obviously Cassian stays alive because Rogue One happens. Yeah. So he's got some plot armor, but what do you think happens with the eventual heist? Any theories?
Half the guys die. Half of them die.
Everyone but Cassian is.
No. I think
that might be accurate. That might be.
This is going to be a dirty dozen type of spiel.
But what I found interesting, I mean, I thought about it for a little while, and I think I know why. But I also thought it was interesting that I was like, they're putting together a crew in the Star Wars universe, and none of them are aliens. Like, I mean, as
Yeah,
in, but I think it's because they're all going to dress up as Imperial officers and go in, so they had to be all human. You know?
Yeah, I think we will see some more of the fun creatures, that we kind of want to see in this space universe.
Well, I think when we we know that Saw Gerrera is in it, so when we see Saw, I think we're going to see two tubes in the background again.
Yep,
I think so too.
Yeah.
So Jason brings up, they're timing this heist around this little, this lights in the sky, asteroids on fire kind of thing that happens every 3 years, and they mention the locals, if that's what it is, or even they mention people traveling from other places to come to this planet for this particular reason. So I wonder, I do wonder if any of that has anything to do with any kind of Jedis whatsoever, and not because I don't think it'll add to the story. If anything, it just might add some cool colors with some lightsabers flying around.
Well, but I think we're going to see the escape. We're going to see them escape in that ship.
Sure.
And make it out of the path of the crystals that burn up the sky, but the TIE fighters and whatever else is following them is going to get hit with all this light show stuff.
That would be cool. And maybe this is when maybe Luthen's ship comes to help them out and has the lasers
for a ship
spinning around and slicing up the TIE bomber that you see in one of the trailers.
They'll just call the ship, hey Newton, and the ship will come fly and save them all. Yeah, it's weird.
Just gotta whistle for him.
That's all it's gonna do. But yeah, it'd be curious to see if we see some new aliens or Jedi, whatever you want to call them. Sorry. Force sensitive beings, because they don't have to be Jedi. They could be Sith, or they could be, in between, like what Ahsoka is, right?
Yeah, my theory about that is pretty much exactly what John said. You're going to see the celestial thing to help provide cover, but they're not really going to get into much explaining any connection with the Jedi or the Force, but that that's going to be referenced in some comic or some book.
Oh, definitely.
Later down the line, they're saving that off to the side to pepper in some other kind of, maybe even the High Republic for all we know.
Yeah, exactly.
So Linger the Rabbit, I believe this series 1, 12 episodes, I believe. I think it takes 5 years, and then I believe series 2, season 2, finishes the next 5 years. I think it's something like that.
No. We're only 5 years before the Battle of Yavin right now.
So is it 2.5 years or so?
Yeah.
The first season takes, from what I remember, I believe the first season takes place over the course of 1 year.
Okay.
And then the next and final season takes place over the course of 4 years.
Okay, so I think that explains. Hope that explains a little bit, Linger. I know there hasn't been any big time jump yet, like
not yet.
Dragon show where they got to recast all the freaking actors because
that was terrible. That was the worst. Sorry to go off on a tangent, but
it is weird. But
that was the worst thing to do.
I'll give it some credit. It's still a pretty good show, and we knew it was coming. I warned.
I don't know the prince.
Like, this girl's only around for 1 more week.
The princess is so jarring and so completely different. The actress is playing her like it's a completely different personality that it takes you out of the show because you have to constantly remind yourself, oh, wait a minute, that's the same girl who used to be a badass, but now is acting like a total wuss.
I think the actor they recast as her husband actually looks younger than the previous actor who was playing that character.
Yeah.
And the Queen also looks younger than the previous actress. The Queen's a new actress as well, which they didn't really need to do that, I don't think.
Yeah. I remember my brother wrote me immediately after starting to watch it going, what the hell just happened to... He goes, this is one of my favorite shows, and now I don't think I want to watch it anymore because I hate these new actors. Why'd they switch them?
Yeah, I
And I'm
think
like, I know it's terrible. It's a stupid
K2SO,
idea.
as we know and love him, will be more of a season 2 character, but his
Hope.
actual body might get introduced in this season.
Yeah.
Yeah,
is
I
my
don't know.
opinion.
We'll see.
So yeah, they got their Rebels plan, and now we're jumping back to the little bit of a cat fight between the female ISB officer and this other gentleman.
I like the slideshow,
Yeah.
the slide projector cover
Look of the light, yeah.
for the ceiling. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Not-
very original, and it still has that same black Imperial vibe that we kind of know, right, from the Death
Yeah,
Stars
yeah.
and whatnot.
Yeah.
So it's strange and new, but already we're kind of already familiar with it. Okay, that's about the last ones here. So yeah, out of this scene, I got out of it. I was kind of discussing this with Eric a little bit at the beginning. She has a little bit of backstory to her, and I wonder what it is. Whether
She
like
was a
that's
cop.
her dad right there. Like, is that her dad right there?
No, I think what he was I think what he was saying is I brought you here because you were I can't remember the exact wording he used, but he basically made it sound like she was an enforcer, so she was more of like a cop at a lower level.
Okay.
And the rest of the ISB comes from more like upper class backgrounds, and she is more of like a rough and tumble
Okay.
Gotcha.
like smart detective who came up through the ranks, who
Yeah.
like earned her spot in the ISB.
Yeah,
but she's falling behind on her reports and whatnot. She
yeah,
needs to focus
the
on
other guys is just
yeah.
ahead, right? Like, well, he's
Yeah.
already got his reports of the weekend, unlike you, he says, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need those TPS reports.
But I did. Other than I thought I had a screenshot, but the Imperial officers, these guys, the ISB, they go down to that planet to kind of like, I guess they're doing a little bit of investigation now because a whole bunch of people died, and they had the 3 officers all kind of lined up, and they were getting a lecturing from this one fellow here, and it didn't kind of get out of it whether they were being punished. They were just being sent somewhere.
They were
fired.
dismissed.
Outright fired.
The Preox Morlana like corporate entity like is gone. The Empire used that as an excuse to say you're out. We're
stepping in. Yeah. We're taking over.
Yep.
Yeah.
So and then they followed the one young guy, which looked like to Coruscant.
Yep.
Back down to one of the levels where he goes to see his mom, kind of thing. But he was all dressed up, kind of fancy. So I guess he came from a little bit of a classier upbringing. Like he wasn't poor. It didn't look like he was poor.
Lower middle class, I think, is
Yeah.
what I got out of that.
But
kind of a neat contrast, showing him going down the elevators with his little suitcases and whatnot, and I was kind of wondering what was going on there. But yeah, I guess he was just outright dismissed,
fired.
They dissolved that security company, and
but
they
I think
take over the planet of their own security works now.
I think we saw him. I think they focused on him going home to his parents, to his mother, because his story isn't over yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You notice the other 2 guys that got canned, we didn't follow them home.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? We followed this guy home.
Which is too bad, because I did like that one stocky, Scottish.
Oh yeah.
Minus.
Yeah.
They were cool, yeah. But I think because what's gonna happen is he's gonna hold a grudge against Andor because of it. Now he's got even more of a grudge because he lost his job because of Andor. So I kind of think like, and I know people have touched on this, you might have even, Rick, where this is the character that I think eventually turns good, and joins the rebels,
making us believe. Yeah,
but I think
yet.
But I think in the meantime, what's going to happen is whether he's in the Empire, the corporation, or not, he has a grudge against Andor, and he's going to go after him. And what's going to happen is he's going to do it on his own. Something's going to drive him away from his home again, and he's going to go do it whether it's on his own or not. And then the Imperials are going to find him like as almost like a thorn in their side, going after him without jurisdiction and without a real job. And I think he'll get incorporated into the Empire by default, just because the girl here or someone's going to use him anyways to help. You know what I mean? Go ahead. But I think down the road, in the end, it's going to be like he ends up sympathizing with the rebellion because all the shit the Empire, even though he's helping them, he's helping him out. He lost his job and all the shit he's dealt with trying to help the Empire, and nothing's come of it. Like, they still won't give him a job. They still won't give him a position. So he's like, well, screw them then, and he joins the rebellion. Or he may even just do something at the last minute to save Andor's life once he understands what they're all fighting for and sacrifices himself to make sure Andor gets away. It's going to be something like that, I think.
I personally agree with you on the end. And I know, where that character ends up in the end. I think he's going to turn good. I know Rick and I have talked about this before, but seeing what just happened, I think he's going to be. I'm going to take a little bit of a detour on your theory, John, and say he's probably going to be down in the dumps. His mom was probably pissed at him for joining that company that she probably saw as oppressive or whatever.
For sure.
But he's still going to be kind of pissy in his room and say, like, those dastardly, Cassian and Luthen characters, whoever, like, screwed me over and whatnot. But I don't think he's going to do anything about it. My theory is that this woman is going to be looking up. Well, she's going to be. She's not going to give up, even though she was told to stay out of it.
Yeah.
She's going to be looking into things and say, "Oh, this guy led that group of the Preox Morlana security police or whatever down there, and oh, guess what? He's no longer there. He's actually on Coruscant. I'm going to take a trip down and see him and question him, and then they're going to get hooked up. They're going to go to Ferrix together.
There you go." That's a good idea.
And then he's going to see what, like, the Death Troopers are doing to all the citizens on Ferrix, on Ferrix, and that'll be the catalyst for him to be like, oh no, what did I do?
Yeah, you're right. That's a good idea. Yeah,
it is quite likely, and it's a good way to.
It's a clean way to bring him in and keep him in the show, and I think that's the reason we saw him go home is because they're definitely keeping him in the show.
Definitely. We don't want to, we don't want any of these characters, of course, to die, right? Because,
some of them.
Yeah, some of them.
We kind of know, like, they all kind of will, but we don't know that. We just, because there's war going on, we know that some people are going to perish, right? So I guess they're 2 or 3 nights out from their mission, or maybe it's the next day. But basically, they're kind of giving this little data pad to Andor and go, okay, here you go, read this, memorize this. Here's like a language, like memorize this, and be done by the morning. Yeah, right. Let's go. And he's like, what the what? Oh, what I got myself into. But and you can eat too.
But can I finish my dinner first?
Yeah, like you can tell. Of course, they're all skeptical when they first see. Their partner walk up with some stranger that they know nothing about days before the big heist, the big job. But he doesn't look like a creep. He doesn't look like a criminal. So I do think they're gonna lighten up to him and they're gonna work well together. We know he's not gonna fuck around. He's gonna do what he's got to do to get the job done, kind of thing, as we kind of know from his personality and what he's done in his past, even though we've only seen so little of his past. But yeah, I do like these other characters. Again, I like them mostly because they're well cast. They don't all have the same, Scottish accent that we kind of heard in the last episode. So, I guess that's a planet thing. That planet was full of Scottish hardworking people. Planet's full of, I don't know, more British Lord of the Rings characters, who aren't working for the, I don't know. it's a little different, but I like the look of them. They look like they were how they'd have their hairstyles and their facial hair in the 70s and stuff. I like that feel about the Andor verse, I'll call it. I don't know if you guys had any special moments from this episode that stood out from, the original 3-episode premiere, because we do get, 2 new locations here.
There's more on Cassian's background. I wanted to touch on this. I can't believe I forgot to mention this earlier. Luthen called out before they disembarked the ship to meet. I can't remember the woman leader of that kind of little rebel cell. We were talking about Cassian's background and whatnot, and how he was in the Battle of Mimban with Han Solo.
Yeah, did you hear what Skeletor said? He's like, "Yeah, you were a cook. You forgot to mention that part. You were a cook. You weren't like battling." So yeah, a teenager. What they say? 16 or something?
He got conscripted after he was jailed. So you almost wonder if Cassian and Han Solo interacted at some point.
Do you think that we'll get an opportunity? Well, hell, I'd say, since we have 8 episodes left, and this last episode I think was like 50 minutes, so we got to.
Yeah, it was. I liked that it was longer. I liked
so far, right?
Yeah,
it didn't feel like it, but I'm happy. I'm not going to complain if it's a 25-minute or a 50-minute. I'll be happy just that we got another week with another episode of new Star Wars content. But I'm very much think that because we got 18 plus episodes to go over a couple of seasons, that there is room for possibly an episode where we do see a flashback to Mimban. I don't think it's needed, but I mean, because they have so many episodes to go now, like over 2 seasons, not just the 8 we have left in this season, which is still a lot. Some shows don't even make it 8 episodes, period.
Yeah.
They're more likely, my guess is, if they do anything, they're more likely to do like a prequel to Andor in the comics. They might do like a short run in the comics.
Yeah. Okay, here's a question for you. Why even bring up the name Mimban or planet or that battle at all? It's been brought up in 2 of the 4 episodes so far. So it's obviously important for something. But from our knowledge, it was a nothing war. Like they put Han Solo there because it was they didn't care what happened to the people they sent there. They're like, this is the place where we send all the stormtroopers to die because we don't give a fart about these people. So why does that keep being thrown in our face again? Like the Mimban. Oh, you were a cook in Mimban. Like they keep feeding us this information. I wonder if we do get some kind of flashback. It doesn't have to include Han Solo at all. It doesn't even have to be Andor, but it has to add to the story somehow.
Is that because it was another mining planet that they wanted to take over because there was something to mine on it?
Maybe. And was Andor an Imperial person?
Well, they said he was. I think in one of the previous episodes they were talking about how Cassian was jailed for some other crimes and whatnot, and after his sentence he was conscripted into being a grunt in the army, and
so was he like a prison cook?
Well, no, I think he was out of. It sounded like he was out of prison at that time. I could be mistaken. I could be getting my wires crossed, but I think it's more like I think there was some value of Mimban, like whether it was mining or something. I'd have to go back and look at a whole bunch of references, but I think it was more to set the stage for Cassian just being disillusioned with the Empire.
Yeah, because I don't see him ever being a sympathizer with the Empire.
No,
like Han Solo kind of was, right? Like
it just kind of enriches his backstory of why he doesn't like the Empire from the start, because he saw like how pointless everything was. Yeah,
it's interesting because that would be, I'm guessing, good 15 years ago or something, right?
Yeah. The Republic that became the Empire essentially ruined his home planet.
Yeah.
And then he saw the same people stay in power in a sense from that transition between the Republic and the Empire. He grew up through that transition and saw that transition destroy his own homeworld. With that mining accident and blah blah blah, and they pretty much wiped out the whole population of that planet. And then, he obviously went with the girl and the dude and the little beady robot, and must have grew up from like age 6 to 16, then got in trouble and put on Minband, and then conscripted with the Empire, and then he must have left at some point, went back to that girl because it was the only mother he knew at that point, right? So he must have went back to her because she was still there living with him in this wherever, when we saw him as an adult at the beginning of the series.
Yeah, I've been very impressed with the series. Like, the Gilroys. There's two brothers, right? The one guy is writing, and the one guy is the director guy. Is that?
Yeah. Gilroy.
Seems like it.
Yeah.
I'm impressed. Like, I think their storytelling skills in this Star Wars universe. So I've been very impressed with so far. Because we don't know what's going to happen, even though we know the main character dies in his future, but we still don't know what adventures or what we has to go through before we even get to that. Like, there's so
I think that's
content to come.
I think that was the whole thing. Like this first season, these first 10 or 12 episodes, whatever, is how it's a heist that sort of sets up for how he gets involved with the formation of the rebellion and working for this guy and General Draven, and everything. And then Draven was a general. He's like, they would say Draven's already blown up an Imperial base,
Yes.
But anyways, like, he gets in good with those guys. This is how, I think. And then the next season is going to be a series of adventures that we see him go on for the rebellion as he works his way further up into that echelon to where he's, you know what I mean?
Yep. Quick question for the both of you.
Good day, Michael.
In the episode, Mon Mothma was mentioning that she might be bringing someone else into the fold.
Yeah.
Who do you think that? I have my own theory as to who that someone could be, but
I hope it's Bail Organa. I love Jimmy Smits, and I want to see him in the show.
That's my first guess too. I think it has to be Bail Organa.
Yeah, I hope so. But
I also think, why wouldn't he already be involved?
That's
at this stage.
Yeah.
I have to assume he's already involved, right?
Well, I don't know.
Mandoverse.
I kind of think because we saw Saw Gerrera, they're referring to Saw Gerrera.
I think it might be. I think it might be Ahsoka.
Yeah, I think Ahsoka could be, only because I think they have to try and tie this to the Mandoverse, and believe it or not, the Emperor's cloning facilities. I have a feeling we're gonna see some cloning facilities in this place they're going to rob. I just have a feeling.
Interesting.
It's gonna tie into, because they threw it in the Mandoverse.
Yeah.
And then no explanation. So they're gonna throw it in the Andorverse and maybe get some explanation. What's up, Sean Solo?
I do like the now that I think about it, I do like the Ahsoka idea, because she does become
Fulcrum. She was Fulcrum already. Fulcrum was Anakin's private channel in the Clone Wars.
Yeah, just
the comms
name,
channel.
Right?
Yeah, it was Anakin's private comms channel that she just adopted the name of, and in Rebels she's introduced as the initial Fulcrum that is used to help identify and bring together rebel sympathizers into the singular alliance. So
what about Mon Mothma? Like, okay, we got our theories now where it could be Ahsoka,
Bail, maybe
Bail Organa, first name we thought of.
Yeah.
What about any of these other cartoon characters, like the whole Rebels crew or whatever? The
Draven. John called out Draven. It could be,
Yeah.
This video game guy who's a Jedi, like Cal Kestis. Like, because there's so many different universes and timelines.
Yeah,
I don't know the age of Cal Kestis. I kind of know Omega's alive. The Mad Bad Batch are alive. The Rebels are all alive. Ahsoka's alive. Luke's alive. But we're not going to see all those characters. We are going to see one of them, two of them, some of them.
Well, Saw Gerrera's been in the trailers, right? So he's coming in, and
yeah, I don't think he's the surprise Rebel, sympathizer that Mon Mothma brings up.
Yeah.
I think they already have
it's either Bail Organa or Ahsoka. That's who it'll be. Right. Yeah,
I think for sure it's one of those two.
It's one of those two.
I'd love to see more Radis.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah. Where would that person be right now?
He's on Mon Cala.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah, they don't have a Senate seat, or.
Oh, they do. Yeah.
Not part of that.
I think they both do. The Quarren. I think the Quarren and the Mon Cala had Senate seats.
Yeah,
they all would, because the ETs do, and
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It doesn't need it. I'm not missing, laser swords at this point, at all. So I'm quite happy with the introduction of space whores and brothels and Nog. Yeah, as we see, he gives Andor a little shot of some Nog again, right? He's like, just one sip though. Like, I don't know if that means you're going to get all messed up on this, or if you're just saving it for himself. Yeah, Voss. Yeah, interesting. I do think there's at least, I don't know, there hasn't been any introduction of a character like, I'm not going to say for the children, but just a new fun character that maybe they make toys off of, or
this isn't going to be that show.
Yeah,
I don't think there's a Disney show that exists ever again that doesn't have something like that.
I see your point, but again, I think going back to
page one of the draft, why we're making a show, and in one of those paragraphs, like, because we sell toys of this thing.
Yeah.
Is it the Red Droid? Is it BT?
I mean, if he goes back for it, I don't know if. I don't think he'll go back for it in this series until the end of the heist. The way things are going now.
His mom and stuff, right? Like he's going back to his mom.
They're going
maybe
back
maybe not till after the heist, though. It's not like he's going to leave tomorrow.
Oh, the heist is in like 2 days or something.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
So it'll be, assume his next episode.
It'll be a few episodes down the road. I think the heist is going to be a couple episodes. It's not just a one episode heist.
I think it'll be trailer for this episode. So I was like hoping for like a little trailer, so we can kind of see what's coming up, but there was nothing except for late last night. I saw a little clip of the cleric guy talking to Mon Mothma in the back room, just like an extended 1 minute scene.
Yeah,
but no trailers anymore. Like, so I'm like, come on, give us a little trailer, because now you're getting to the point where we've seen everything that's been in the trailers now, almost absolutely everything now. There's nothing new that they can show. They have to show us something new. Like, tease me tomorrow morning with, okay, next week. Because next week we know they're all going to be wearing Imperial outfits, right? Like, that's part of their heist.
Unless they take another day to set it up. But yeah.
Yeah. I think the heist will be over and done with in another episode. I think that will probably be the next episode, unless there's just an unusual delay for whatever reason, and they need to put off the heist and do some extra planning.
And do you think we get a multi-storyline again, like we did this week, where, okay, we'll follow, the white Imperials and what's going on with their
100%. Yeah.
And then that young guy who's back seeing his mom, I think he gets thrown into that same storyline pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Because I don't think we're going to get a big backstory on him, just maybe quickly.
That's why I'm saying it might be 2 episodes before the heist, because I think they're going to spend a lot next episode on bringing on the Empire stuff and bringing that in to where, you know what I mean, they're going to be going after Andor, and then the next one they'll start the heist, because they still got 3 days before the heist starts. So I don't think they're just going to skip 3 days, and I really think that we're going to see more of that build up before we actually get to the heist.
Yeah, it's possible.
A little bit of character building.
Yeah. Because I think this whole, I don't know, right now my feeling is this whole first season is this heist and the repercussions of it. You know what I mean? So I don't know that. So I'm like, if there's 8 more episodes, the heist isn't going to happen next episode and be over with. Because like, what are they going to do? There are other 7 episodes. You know,
I think there's going to be a bigger. I think there's going to be a bigger time jump based on what they were saying about this first season taking place over the course of a year. So I think they're going to. My expectation would be that they would have a resolution on the heist relatively soon, so that they can escalate things. Go to
like
Ferrex,
6 months ahead, and then do a different thing. Okay.
Go to Ferrex, terrorize those people, and then there's like a jump later, and maybe the latter half of that season, that guy Cyril, who's just got canned, ends up flipping by the second half of the season, or at least doubting himself, and then you start seeing Cassian getting integrated with more stuff, probably the partisans getting involved, and Saw Gerrera. So I see what you're saying, and normally, like with the pacing of a lot of these Disney Plus shows, I would normally 100% agree with you, and it's still possible. It might be like just one, but I have to believe that they're gonna get through this heist fairly quickly, because episodes 1 through 4, while good, have mainly been set up, and there needs to be something to really get things spinning.
Yeah, and the other thing too is we know Saw Gerrera's in it, so there has to be after
a reason.
There has to be stuff after the heist, because Saw Gerrera's not going to show up in the middle of the heist, you know.
Yeah, he saw like on Jeddah.
I don't know what planet that was.
Saw and his rebels and 2 tubes. I don't think they get in ships and travel around too much. I could be wrong, but I have a feeling that they have to go to see Saw in Jeddah, because Jeddah exists at this time, and I'm assuming Cassian has been there before.
But it's
I don't know. Yeah,
but it's probably to get his aid to retaliate against the Empire for whatever they do on Ferrex.
I'm just saying it because it gives them another opportunity for Easter eggs of not just 2 tubes, but I got Baze and Charut. Like I think they were hanging out in that planet for a while. I don't think that they just happened to be there for that weekend. I think they've been there for a while. But yeah, Dino makes a good point here. Yeah, I think this female Imperial officer is gonna put a little kink in their little robbery attempt, and if not stop them outright.
I think you're right. She knows what's going on.
She's a good cop.
She will uncover the larger plan and detect it, but I think she'll be held back from doing anything. And my guess is that the heist will be used to validate her theories with her superiors, and she'll be given more control over this engagement.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point. Like of her getting like a little bit more of a
like I told you so.
Maybe she'll get another blue square and a red square. I don't know how. They all look like that, like one of each.
Another cough drop on her. I'll be right back. I gotta use their.
Cheers. So yeah, it's very interesting to think. Again, a whole episode, and we've gotten no closer to. I shouldn't say that. We've gotten a lot closer to the reason why Clark recruited Andor. Like this is the reason, right, for this one heist. And is this going to be the stick in the eye that he's explaining it to be, or is it just going to be like, it's pocket change, or you just pissed off 1 million employees who aren't getting paid, so that's going to affect us in that way?
Well, they can still print credits, right? But to me, I think this will go. My expectation is that this will go down in history as the first at least in the eyes of the Empire, the first significant black eye that a rebel or like a rebellion has given to the Empire, right? Like something of significant, of some significance, like stealing like that, like all of the payroll for that entire sector.
So what are they gonna do with like the money? Like, can they go shopping at the Imperial Mall?
That's it. If everyone has chain codes, how are the credits like not traced and whatnot, right?
Yeah, that's I guess I can never really explain that. Like
Black market, right?
black market for ships and ammunitions and whatever, maybe pay off some spies. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's interesting to think about. They're robbing money, and then we got the Mandoverse where they got like the Beskar formed in shapes of money because it's a valuable commodity, right? And it's used in trade and people steal it, stuff like that, right? So yeah, it's interesting that all these things have value, but yet there's just one true power above, and that's the Empire. And it's weird. It's weird how it's because now there's no. The only law is the Empire now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always wondered why people like the Mon Mothmas and whatnot, they just continue on with their role, no matter that their boss is a good person or a bad person. They just continue on with their role. So I'm really glad that they created this show because it is going to kind of help that um, answer that question. Like, because she's not the only one. There's got to be dozens and dozens of other
Yeah.
leaders from other groups where they're like, oh, what do we do now? Our votes mean nothing, and this guy's the all-powerful leader. Even though we don't know it's all evil now, but he's all evil, and we're all doomed, right? Only some of them knew it. They voted
Well,
against it, right?
there's some of it is kind of like it's if your job hasn't changed, like obviously it changes after A New Hope because we see them say like in A New Hope, he's like, oh, he's dissolved the Senate permanently.
Mm-hmm.
But up until that point, like where we are right now, 5 years before that happening, like if you're a senator, you're from your perspective, the nothing has changed. You're still a senator. You're still
It's a new
meeting in
boss.
this thing. You're still discussing it. Your boss is even the same because he's been there for 30 years now. You know what I mean? So it's like
It is weird to think about that, yeah.
you're it's kind of hard for someone who lives in that environment and just goes from his chambers to the Senate, you know what I mean, and lives in a posh environment with these people that are all wealthy and stuff.
Mhm.
It's hard for them to see the impact of what the Empire's having on a planet that's 100 light years away, where they're mining and stripping the planet bare. Like, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, I mean, you could think about it today, like why do we sit here in our homes and not do anything about it while we're on our phones, when we all know in the back of our minds that the material used to make this phone is being strip mined out of some indigenous people's homes down in South America, and it's destroying the habitat and everything, you know what I mean? And technically none of us should have these phones, you know what I mean? Like, and none of us are doing anything about it. It's, I mean, that's like a smaller example, but um it's that kind of thinking. They'd rather have their lifestyle than open their eyes to what's going on in the grander picture, and
Yeah, no,
that's why in the beginning there's only a few people like Bail Organa and Mon Mothma and now this antiquities dealer who have opened their eyes to the larger picture, where I think more and more of them will open their eyes as it affects their own home planets. You know what I mean? Like,
it won't matter until it starts affecting you.
And like you see also, you could argue that by the time you get to Return of the Jedi, that alliance is much larger than it was in New Hope. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we assume it is. Yeah, for sure.
So once they dissolve the Senate and all these senators go home to their planets and see what their planet's dealing with and their neighboring planets are dealing with, that was, I think, a spark that made the rebellion grow even bigger to what we see in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
So
and even in Rogue One, the main faction of the Alliance was still very much fractured, and there were like Saw Gerrera's partisans were still kind of like a rebel offshoot and whatnot.
Yeah.
That was more militant and whatnot, but
very underground and
Yeah.
You know,
Well, they said in Rogue One, Mon Mothma said that they had worked with Saw in the past,
Yeah.
and then they purposefully pushed him away and
Yep.
broke him off
Yep.
because he was too militant.
Yep.
Like
Gave
they
him
weren't
a bad look. Yeah.
they weren't ready to get that militant against it, and so I think that's what we're going to see is we're going to see that pre-break,
Where you're going to start to see the different factions come together, and you start to see you see some of that in Rebels, right? With like the like Mon Mothma comes with like gold, the guy who's gold leader in the Y wings, but there's another group that has all the A wings and whatnot. So
that's
like,
right.
They're bringing together all these different factions, and this is really the genesis of the Alliance, even though it wasn't very strong until after the Battle of Scarif. It justified, the ends justified the means and whatnot, and it more or less forced the Alliance to band together and stop bickering, like you saw in Rogue One before. Before the Rogue One crew just said, "Screw it, we're taking matters into our own hands."
Yeah.
So I bet we see who starts the Yavin base.
And like the other thing, like what was
someone's
pretty cool,
start, right?
At some point,
yeah,
because it already existed in Rogue One, so someone before that set that up, for the rebels or for the rebellion, So I wonder if that could be, Saw Gerrera or any of these characters or this new character that Mon Mothma wants to introduce to everyone. So we talked about that, who this potential rebel person is that Mon Mothma wants to introduce. Is there one Imperial or Empire specific character that you want to see introduced or brought up and shown on screen in this Andor show, whether it's someone that we know from the prequels or the original trilogy?
I kind of think Yularen would make the most sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd like Yularen. I'd be kind of surprised that they wouldn't have used him if they don't show him at all. I'd be surprised that they created a brand new character that is played by I can't remember the actor's name, the guy who played Qyburn in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
If they created a brand new character to serve that role of kind of like a leader in the ISB, why wouldn't they utilize Yularen already?
Yeah.
I mean, there were good. I'm sure there are very good reasons to save Yularen for some other things, right? Because the story group will say certain characters should be off limits for certain reasons because they're planned to be introduced in other storylines around the same time.
Okay.
But for me, aside from Yularen, Masa Maeda, because I just want to see that guy super slimy and whatnot.
Yeah, we always thought that guy was a slimy guy anyway, right?
Yeah. He was the guy
or whatever.
Like after, he was the guy that was burning all of the lightsabers and Jedi cloaks and whatnot in the comics, and made a big show of burning and destroying Yoda's lightsaber, even though it wasn't actually Yoda's lightsaber. Yeah,
that's crazy. But
what I find funny is that, like, I always grew up thinking that the Empire, the Imperials, the Emperor himself, in a sense, hated the non-humanoid species. So that's why they kind of explained it as that's why in Star Wars: A New Hope, all the Imperials that are in charge are human, and we don't see
they were
any
all white too at the time, right? Now
we don't see any Greedos. You don't see any Greedos or those any other Walrus Men guys or whatever in the Empire.
Thrawn characters,
Yeah. So, but I always thought it was funny that, like, especially if we see Masa Maeda in this show, it's like, so wow, that alien made it all the way to here, and it's like,
true.
So I was expecting shortly after the prequels for him to just get rid of them, you know what I mean, and put humanoids in their space, and Thrawn being the only exception. Like we were talking about Thrawn earlier, if I remember correctly, Thrawn was picked by the Emperor himself, right? Wasn't Thrawn given a commission and given a spot inside the Empire by Palpatine himself, and that's why he's the only one who isn't.
Well, Palpatine definitely had a role in helping Thrawn advance his career and whatnot, but a lot of that was due to I think it was Palpatine. Palpatine placed him in the academy and whatnot after they captured him in the first of the new Thrawn novels,
because he was impressed with his tactical mind or whatever. I think
right. But he also knew the end game and knew that they would have mutual enemies, and the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I think it was more of that, and I don't think the Emperor was necessarily like space racist, right?
I always kind of thought that as a kid, without even knowing what it was as a kid. We just kind of looked at them and thought, oh, they're like the Nazis, they're kind of like that, right? The propaganda and the so I think uniforms, whatever it was, it just always made me feel in a way, that's that kind of stereotype we're led to believe that. But I think it's a little different now. Now we see a bunch of females in the Empire. We see black people. We see different shades of skin, even just in this one episode, all over the place. Rebels, Imperials. So it's weird. It's all the same universe though. So I'm okay with it. It all blends in well enough to me that I can overlook my childhood beliefs that, oh, the Empire only likes white British people. But it's just not the fact. It's just it was a very small universe then. It's a little bit bigger now. Even though everyone says the universe is so small because we see some of the same things, no, it's still a really big freaking universe, man. Like they all look at the same, sun, so to speak. Like it's not as small as you think.
I guess my point was more, I don't think the Emperor himself is necessarily averse to aliens and whatnot, but the rest of the Empire I definitely think is like anti-alien species and whatnot. The top brass and whatnot, the top humans in the Empire, they're definitely like that. The Emperor isn't, obviously he has Masameda and that Umbaran woman Slime or whatever. She might be showing up in that dinner party too, from what I think I heard her name dropped. But in any case, like the Emperor created the Empire just to advance his own Sith agenda. He doesn't care about the people or anything. So it's almost like, you go I'll create an environment where you can subjugate and all these other species and whatnot, but I'm going to do my own thing on the side and just whatever.
Yeah, no, that's good. It's perfect to think about that. So next week, things I'm looking forward to next week. Like I expect to see a cool heist, a la, Book of Boba Fett train heist, Mando, the Sandcrawler kind of heist. Fuck off, phone. Little action sequence that doesn't take over the whole episode, but is definitely a well thought, adventure kind of scene. And on the Empire, before I say my Empire side of things, with Mon Mothma's little dinner retreat with Mr. Mon Mothma, I'm very interested to see who is going to be invited for dinner there. I'm assuming we're going to get to see that. It looked like 10 or 12 people or more, and maybe they get guests. And
what if Bail comes to the dinner
and whatnot? So it'll be interesting. I think we get to see a bunch of new aliens or a bunch of familiar aliens and droids and whatnot next week. You never know.
Ooh, droids!
Which droid might show up with a certain senator or two, right? With Hispanic, blood. I'm just saying. Bail Organa would be a great character to show up next week with a couple droids. I'm just saying.
That would be neat, yeah.
But my one thing I want to see that I told Eric this last week, in Rogue One, it was so cool to see red leader, yellow leader, just for that little 1 second little cameo, like in their X-Wing flying by. I just want to see a similar callback to the Imperial side of things. I know it won't be easy because the TIE fighter pilots are obviously just a guy in a helmet, but that's why I keep bringing up Veers or any of these. We got Mati, we got
Admiral Piet.
we got all these characters. At least I want to hear a name over the intercom or something. Like Admiral Piet, line 1. Line 1, Piet. Something. So that's what I want to see. I want to see a cool Imperial officer that we know callback. They don't have to show him. Just mention a name or something.
It would be
tag on a guy, we recognize him. And why does that one guy look like Tarkin? I thought that was weird. I just thought it was weird. They could have used any actor in that scene, but they chose the one that looks just like freaking Tarkin.
I'm with you, Gilster. I hope we see Zeb in Ahsoka.
Yeah, me too.
It wouldn't exclude him.
It would be. I have to imagine it would be pretty expensive to do Zeb though, with the way he walks and whatnot. He's like he's
trying to compare him to. Look at the characters. We didn't get any weird creatures in today's episode, but the last episode, am I thinking the last episode? In the Kenobi series, we got a couple of really weird creatures. But yeah, Andor, we got that one kind of slimy guy that was kind of, he just told me to stand here.
Yeah. He was cool. I liked him. I immediately was like, if you make one action figure out of this show, make that guy.
That's the first day in a costume that somebody made and designed off maybe a Ralph McQuarrie drawing from the 1970s, right? So Zeb is McQuarrie concept Chewbacca.
Yep.
They painted him purple instead of making him like kind of a hairy creature. So it for sure can be a guy in a costume. I think it can be done.
Well, they did it in the Arrival with was that with Charlie Sheen or something? The Arrival, remember that? At the end, they found the kid. The aliens were the kid went with his legs, and then he ran
that had weird. That was kind of freaky looking, man. Yeah, that was like stop motion stuff, I think.
Yeah, remember that movie? What was that? Was it called The Arrival or something? I don't know.
But what you're saying with Zeb, I think when we do see Zeb in a live action, it'll be like top of the line. I think.
Yeah.
The technology will be there, so that's why maybe if we see him in Ahsoka.
But I think he's. I think in Ahsoka, if I get the time frame correctly, Zeb's already gone through that little weird portal thing, and he's on the other side of that with Callus on their planet. So I just don't think the whole Ghost crew will come back together for this show. I think it's just going to be Hera and Sabine, yeah. I think that's pretty much it. Yeah.
You're probably right. It's more just out of I really like Zeb.
Yeah.
Well, we know we're getting all the other characters, right? Except for the one guy we know died. But why can't he be a Jedi spirit? 50% of the Jedis that died become spirits. So maybe we see that actor play Kanan as a Force ghost for some reason or another. I'm just throwing it out there. It
wasn't Callus ISB?
Yeah, he was. I think. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Another possibility.
Is he a Bad Batch? Is he the Bad Batch Imperial guy? What's that guy?
No, Callus was Rebels. The Rebels guy.
Sideburns.
Yeah,
the Rebels.
Yeah, so he'd be a perfect fit in this show. Yeah. Who is the guy from Rebels? Oh, he's right here. Or not Rebels, Bad Batch. Admiral something I can't read because it's
Rampart.
Could you see Rampart?
I don't know.
Possible, but if they show him, they might be diving into the cloning arc that you were hinting at, Rick. I
wonder.
I'd be willing to bet that they don't dive into that in Andor, and that they'll save that for Bad Batch and probably Mandalorian stuff.
What if Baby Yoda's in an aquarium down in that vault full of the Imperial credits? Hey, look, there's Baby Grogu in an aquarium.
Yeah.
Oh, one thing that someone saw in the Den of Antiquities, if we'll call it that, was an Indiana Jones whip encased in carbonite.
Oh, I saw those carbonite blocks. I didn't make out what was in them.
So it's not something I took a screenshot of, but I watched another, a big popular YouTuber pull out all the Easter eggs, and they pointed out like it looked like an Indiana Jones whip encased in carbonite. So I'm like, hey, that's cool.
It was in the back room when they're looking through the window into the main room, looking at the helper and the driver. The carbonite blocks were off to the right, and then
I'll have to go back and watch because I've only watched once. This one, I watched 3 times.
The reverse view in the back room, showing the back wall of the back room. In the top shelf, you see what appears to be a Jedi and a Sith holocron next to each other.
Holocrons, okay. I'll have to go look because there's also another armor set in the back room that's not Star Killers, but it looks very similar.
What my question would be like, what? So I always understood that freezing stuff in carbonite was for perishable goods. So like if
gas.
If you were or
Tabana
gas, which is a perishable good. So I'm just like saying, like anything that is either volatile or a perishable that you want to ship over a long distance, you put in carbonite. So what would be the point of putting a whip in carbonite? You know what I mean? Or
set design.
Easter egg.
Just an Easter egg for Harrison Ford himself.
It's just because like they made it. It's to me, it's kind of weird that. Like, I know they've sort of like retroactively done all this, but it was just kind of weird that we see it as like almost like it's become like a common practice to put humanoid species in carbonite, but because it sounded like in Empire Strikes Back, this is something that has never been done before.
But they did it in the Clone Wars.
Yeah, they were worried about Han Solo coming out of it alive, and
part of his job now is freezing people in carbonite, right?
Yeah, they but did that's it after.
Wasn't it that
invented it?
Yeah. Really? Well, I think he got the idea because he was a part of that mission with Obi-Wan and Tarkin to save Even Peel, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever the guy's name was from that prison.
It's neat to see an Easter egg for Indiana Jones because I think it's the first one because Indiana Jones was like one of the first movies ever to make an Easter egg, and they threw a little R2D2 and C-3PO in one of the hyperoglyphs or whatever.
In the bar was called Obi-Wan.
Yeah, and that too. So it's that's why really it's not.
Yeah.
It could be a frozen snake for all we know from the planet. Bippy bobbity boo,
Yeah.
Monkey lizard and carbonite. Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
Is this the show where we saw a trailer with a bunch of monkey lizards in a cage?
No, Mando season 3.
Oh, that was Mando.
Okay. Mando 3, yeah.
I'm surprised we haven't seen a creature like that yet. That dragon show, we keep seeing rats, but in this show, we don't see like any monkey lizards or rats or anything.
Yeah. No fauna yet. No,
I would love to see another creature or two walk by. Just hearing that speeder bike was probably my favorite part of the episode.
Not the TIE fighter?
No.
Oh, I liked hearing the TIE fighter come by.
It was just like, a TIE fighter, I know it's coming. I hear the TIE fighter sound, and you're like, okay, it's TIE fighters, and then they fly by, you're like, whoop-de-doo. But the speeder bike, you're just watching the show, and you hear it, and you're like, well, that sound. Why is there a speeder bike sound in the background? So, yeah, that was my favorite part of this episode. It's small, but, it was awesome. It was a cool Easter egg for Rick. How about you guys? You got a favorite part of this episode?
Mine was there's so many to choose from, but probably seeing just more of Coruscant in the ISB building.
That was cool.
That and Luthen just kind of putting on a face and getting ready to get into character.
Well, I guess it's a disguise, right? Like, or
which one
got short
real?
Hair?
I mean, which one is the disguise, though? You know what I mean? Like,
now I'm wondering, like, he's really a rebel sympathizer. So, I must know he's got short hair, or
see, I think what happened is, I think he used to look like the guy with the long hair.
Yeah.
But when he joined the rebellion and started helping them, he needed a disguise to go out and about. So he shaved his head and changed his outfit so he could go out in the common crowd and do what he needs to do.
Agreed.
But yet when he comes back to the office, he's got to be his old self again. So he's got to put on a wig and do all this stuff to make it look like he did for so many years, you know?
Well, because it does look like, I'm not going to call him a master of disguise, but it was like, I don't think that was his only disguise.
Oh, maybe he's got others.
Like, to believe, he's got 80 different kinds of jewelry and all these. I think we're going to see another disguise from this character, believe it or not.
Well, it was the funny thing is it was sort of hinted to us in the first few episodes, because the ship, now that you think about it in hindsight, you're like, that ship is pretty darn sophisticated and expensive for a scrappy little dude to own. You know what I mean? So now you're
Andor noticed it went to light speed. He's never been on a ship that could go to light speed like that before, right?
Yeah. So but it's like, now we know why he's the rich dude. That's why he's got the this fancy ship. You know, it's like,
it talks to him. They had the little cameras that were spying on Cassian.
And by the way, I love the design of the cockpit from the interior, because I love how it's got
asymmetrical.
That it's almost got that falcon shape, and it's got all the switches and toggles and little butts and lights and things around it.
And that was very Imperial looking, black with red buttons. That kind of gave me that Death Star wall, inner office vibe with a little bit of red and stuff in the buttons. But definitely I want to see more of that ship, like its wings, flap, or I want to see the red lasers flying out the side. Like it's got more to it. I want to see a space fight. Coruscant was neat to see. We don't know if it's day or night. It's kind of weird to think about it when they're so far down in the core of the buildings. It's dark anyway, so I want to see a different time of day, I guess.
Yeah.
More Coruscant would be welcome.
Nightlife? Do you think they have brothels in Coruscant?
Oh, 100%.
Space whores down there too? Right.
Yeah.
Right on. All right, so unless we missed any major points, I don't want to keep everyone for too much longer, like a little short and sweet after show. I'm looking forward to some more action. We're missing that one big action scene.
Yeah.
Not that we need to every episode, but we got lots to look forward to, I think. And I think everyone's been happy with this show, and I look forward to more surprises, if anything. I'm so happy that none of this has been spoiled for me. Personally, as a guy who looks for some leaks or trailers coming out early, nothing's been spoiled for me. I'm very happy with the show so far. I look forward to seeing what's to come.
Yeah. And generally speaking, we got a lot of content going on, so it seems like the weeks are going by faster, because you get Andor, then She-Hulk, and Rings of Power, House of the Dragon, and numerous other things going on.
Yeah. I'm actually digging it, because
yesterday
I'm really liking it, because just about every day I've got a show to watch now, and that's my happy spot, where because I like, I come home from work, I go to the gym, I get some lunch, make some lunch, and I like to sit down and watch a show while I'm having lunch. And it's good that now every day it's like, Wednesday I got this, Thursday I got this, Friday I got this, Saturday we're kind of off, Sunday I got this, so it's like I got a different show every day of the week almost to watch. That I really like. It's a sweet spot for me, because I like it when things like that line up. I wish we didn't have the off periods where there was nothing to watch. I want this to be like a regular thing.
2021 was.
Yeah.
Nothing new for 2 years almost.
Like I really wish that Star Wars and Marvel were absolutely back to back. So every week I had a different Star Wars episode and a different Marvel to watch. And when one show ends, the next one starts up the following week. Yeah. I wish it were that way forever now. Because that's just kind of what I enjoy this stuff so much.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think it'd still be more likely that there would be more Marvel content coming out than Star Wars.
Yeah.
Just the production value usually for even Star Wars shows is higher and more detailed. And
I think we're close to getting that stuff almost on a weekly, if not seasonal basis. New shows all the time.
And I've been loving Rings of Power. I don't know what people's problem is. I've been. It's one of my top favorite shows. I mean, right now. So
that's the one that's not the dragon one.
Yeah, the Lord of the Rings one. Yeah, I've been loving it.
You're wrong.
I like it. I'm with John.
I really like it. It's well done. We did talk briefly how they just recast.
Well, except for the last episode was screwing me up. I mean, like content wise, it's still good, but I just
science fiction-y fantasy shows. Yeah, I'm all over it. I'll watch them all. I'll judge them more fairly when I've seen.
When it's all done. Correct. Yes. Yeah.
I hear you. I appreciate you guys coming in. If you got any final thoughts? Yes, Hasbro retros of this series. I'm already wanting them. Why not? Hot Wheels ships.
Yeah, I'm. The thing with me is that like, I really wish they would do more 3.75-inch scale stuff. I want like 2 or 3 times as many action figures. I think back to the days of the Clone Wars. The week would come. My friends Derek and Daryl and I would all get together and we would watch the episode of Rebels, or of the Clone Wars, and then a week later we'd go to Toys R Us and there'd be 6 new action figures from that episode that we just watched a week or so ago, and then we would watch the next episode, and then we'd go to the store 2 weeks later. There'd be 6 more characters on the 3.75-inch thing of those, and it was like, so from like, I don't know, 2008 to 2011, we got like 1,000 action figures just from the Clone Wars.
That's crazy.
And I think back to those days and go, why can't we have that now? Like, why? It worked back then. You know what I mean? It should work today still. Why do we have to have like 4 figures a year?
I am surprised there's not at least one other kids line of toys directed towards the kids based on these cartoon properties, which is now the Bad Batch. Like the Bad Batch, we've already had 2 seasons, right? And now
Bad Batch is only 1. The second one's coming soon.
Is what we got upcoming.
Yeah.
So if it's actually had more than 2 years of being available to watch on Disney Plus, and the only toys we've seen come out of that have been some Black Series and some Mission Fleet, like right?
Yeah.
I'm surprised they're not doing more Mission Fleet.
And only the top, and it's really only the Bad Batch themselves in Omega. We haven't got any of the other characters, So, and people are telling me, I hear people tell me, they go, well, Hasbro must be overwhelmed right now because there's so many Star Wars projects. And I'm going, no, because Hasbro made the Clone Wars figures, and every single freaking episode, every single week, there were action figures related to that episode that came out only a couple weeks later.
They made them for that Resistance show.
They were on a level of turnaround where every 2 to 3 weeks there were 6 more action figures for Clone Wars, and you got figures literally from just about every single episode that was ever made back in the beginning.
Were those 5 POA still?
Yeah, they were. There were a lot of them were 5 POA. Some of them were highly articulated. It just depended on where they were in their line of thinking. But it's like, and my friends Derek and Daryl bought like every single one. I remember that, and I got sporadic ones here and there. But if I liked the characters, but it was like,
it's like they kind of stopped when the sequels came out.
The
using toys like almost all together, really, right?
It did kill it. Yeah, the sequels, the Last Jedi killed it for real. Yeah.
So hopefully shows like this, that I think all the Disney Plus shows have been very positive, and if anything, maybe Disney will make some more, Hasbro we'll start making some more toys and stuff based on these properties, because they've had a few years to build up the audience, and pandemic being over and stuff, world's getting a little bit back to normal. hopefully you're safe down there in your part of the Florida, and you don't have no hurricane.
It's already past me, man.
Dino coming to get you.
It already went past us.
Okay,
I mean,
good to hear.
yeah. The
And,
worst
nice
was
to hear your
this
brother's
morning.
doing well too. Thanks for.
Oh, that was incredible news. Yeah,
pretty
that was incredible news, and all my brother and I can say is thank you to the community for helping him out. And I mean, it's we're having more issues with the insurance companies. I mean,
of course.
It's funny because these new treatments, even though they're experimental, they're trying to push them through the insurance companies, and the last one the insurance didn't want to pay for, and it's $19,000 per treatment. And they, we had to fork over a bunch of cash to just get it so he could get the treatment, and they're supposedly going to pay us back when they figure it all out. But yeah, it's if we have to do that every month, we're quickly going to become broke. But you got to keep him alive, right? It's that or he dies. So
yep. Biggest scam in the country.
Yeah.
Crazy,
so,
man.
But I mean, the community. I mean, between the GoFundMe and the community donating for the auction and stuff, we made over $9,000. So I mean, that went a long way to help Mark out. And and there's still a little bit of money pouring in every once in a while. Someone goes on the GoFundMe and drops a few $100 more, so that it just all helps out. And we can't say enough, because this finally did work. His largest tumor went from 35 by 32 millimeters down to 19 by 6. And then he had 4 or 5 small tumors that were in his lungs, his liver, different things, and they're all gone, completely gone.
That's good.
So
good stuff, man.
This experimental treatment is what nailed it. It really is killing these tumors. And if the tumors go away and they can keep the new tumors from forming, he could essentially live a normal life for 10 or 15, 20 years or whatever. Just having to go to dialysis because he doesn't have kidneys anymore. But, it's like, it's a difference of 6 or 8 months ago. They were saying, if this treatment doesn't work, you got to start facing the facts that you're probably only going to live another 6 months. So it's a difference of, now they're saying, wow, if this tumor goes away, you could live another 20 years. You know what I mean? So your whole focus in life changes when you hear you got 6 months to live, and then, oh, wow, this worked. Now you might live another 20 years. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh my gosh, thank God, or whatever. So it's incredible. It's incredible.
Well, I appreciate you guys joining me tonight, so I don't blibber blabber by myself for a good long while. But yeah, I enjoyed the latest episode of Andor. I'm really looking forward to the next one. I'm probably going to stay up late tonight and watch the She-Hulk, since I went to bed early last night. Just it was a lot more fun. But yeah, man, I'm looking forward to more Andor, and what we can see in the next episode. Hopefully there's a heist.
Action. Got to see the heist.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Well,
maybe this time next week I'll be proven wrong.
I hope to be able to. I hope I can join you guys more often if you have me. I'll
Well, let me know what you think.
Yeah.
Is this, I've never done one of these streams on a weekday evening ever. Like, I noticed, I don't know, I might have got 8 or 10 people in the chat, but it's obviously not my prime time to do it. Like, I'm on the left coast, so this is great for a bunch of people that live on, the left side of America and Canada, but maybe not so much for people in the UK and Australia. But, I think my time's on the weekends, so we'll see. Maybe next time we'll save this for like a Saturday or Sunday morning.
Whatever works, yeah.
Yeah, so whatever works for you guys as well. I appreciate having you guys here, giving me your opinions on what you liked about the shows. I'll try again to get some screenshots for next week, so we got some little bit of, action we can look at. Hopefully, some action we can look at, and we're not just fantasizing about stuff that didn't happen again. Because I think that's what a lot of people are doing on the Game of Thrones.
What's with the cameras? What's he talking about?
Cameras.
With the cameras?
The camera on the spaceship talking to him?
I
Or is
don't
he
know.
talking about Rings of Power or House of the Dragon?
I don't
I
know.
don't know. Is G-Force still with us?
G-Force, what brand of beer are you drinking?
What you talking about, Willis?
I'm just kidding. So hopefully G-Force even watched Andor.
But I'm definitely going to be watching it a couple more times. I'm digging the show.
Yeah, I did watch the first drop of episodes 3 times, like
Mhm.
right straight away. I was up late that night, but this one, yeah, I didn't watch till this morning, and I had to run to the post office and do other stuff. So I just watched it the one time without subtitles. So I got to go back and watch it with the subtitles now. I usually
Yeah.
get one more word out of it, and
Yeah.
you know, I feel that much better about myself knowing I read every single word. But yeah, thanks to everyone in the chat for keeping us company and giving us your thoughts on the show. If any of you guys want to join in here next time, you're always welcome. It's not just the Rick, Eric, and Super John show. Hopefully get more of you guys to jump on here, and even if you don't turn your camera on, it's nice to hear some opinions and put some names with the faces, if you want to put it that way. But thanks everyone for being here. I'm gonna bounce out with a little bit of a song, and hopefully we'll see you guys all next time around.
Bye-bye. Stay
Cheers.
awesome.
Rick has got a crazy